Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither is our D&D.
Never.
You are not wrong.
Literally never.
I do feel like I'm getting better though. Like I've been during like our live streams and stuff. I've
yeah,
made an effort not to actively drop
a little
F-bombs.
more
That's not
PG-13.
a high bar for you to hop over, though, to make it less
That's
adult.
I hate you
uh,
we got a really great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking for our main topic, the Final Fantasy VII Materia System for your 5th edition game. This is really cool if you want something different, so stay tuned. I'm really excited to talk about our monster variant today. And I want to give a quick update on some stuff. If you've picked up any of our products at all, thank you so much. We've been releasing a lot of content, mostly because of the shutdown, and that's really the only thing I had to do. So I wrote a bunch, but we just keep hitting every bestseller medal, and
yeah, I've been hearing that. So usually it's like every time you post something, you're like, "Hey guys, we have this," and it's almost kind of like it's got to that point where it's like, "Oh yeah, good job." I feel like that's not a very hard bar to get to anymore. We gotta aim higher.
Well, it's funny because you're not exactly wrong. For us, we are very fortunate that we do hit those pretty quickly. I would like to say that our fantastic train is quickly approaching platinum bestseller, which is amazing. So
now that's a different high standard.
Right.
Yet.
We haven't been there yet,
That's
so
different.
that's really exciting. So I want to thank everyone out there that supports us and picks up those comments or picks up those products and leaves reviews. Thank you so much. If you left a review, you're awesome. Because those reviews help us improve the products and also help push people over the edge that aren't quite sure if it's something they want to pick up. The other thing I want to talk about is something super exciting. If you recall, recently we covered Team 5th Edition Team Deathmatch. The Defy Danger has set a challenge. They have invited us, Crit Academy versus Defy Danger, the creators of 5th Edition Team Deathmatch, and we are ready to start the slaughter in the meat house. We are going to grapple, sling fireballs, burn them to a crisp. It's gonna be a barbecue. So make sure
Ideally.
that you join us on June 14th before the show at 5:30 p.m. You can find us streaming at twitch.tv/Defy Danger. I will also be hosting it on our site, so you can also find it on twitch.tv/Crit Academy. So I'm super excited for that, and the gauntlet has been thrown, and we will be answering back with a high-level fireball. So get ready.
Ideally.
Right now is settling on characters for our three-man team.
Yeah, that's not gone anywhere at all, so I'm super excited.
I have more or less my idea locked down. It's just what I do doing.
Right. I actually picked out something, so we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
as it gets closer, we'll talk more and more about it. Maybe we'll reveal to our audience what we're playing. Maybe not to the detail that will give away, so Defy Danger gets an advantage. Of course, they're going to need every advantage they can get against us. What can I say? But so make sure to come and swing by and check that out. That being said, if you'd like to support us or you'd be entered to win fat loots, head on over to critacademy.com, sign up, check out our Patreon page. If you guys haven't known, I have been blowing up the Patreon. I've been going back through a bunch of our monsters and just making them look as professional as I can, and I'm tossing them on there for our copper tier patrons. They look fantastic. It looks awesome.
all that work is finally paying off. All that layout.
Right? But it's so funny though, man. Like when I went back and looked at my early shit, it was garbage. Like why did anybody support me? But the improvement has been astronomical. So definitely check that out. If you haven't, swing on over to onto our Facebook and you can find some samples that I've posted on there you can pick up. So. All right, I think that'll do it for all the house cleanup. A little bit of rambling there. Managed to keep it under 5 minutes. Look at that. Getting better.
Not bad at all.
Crit Nation, thank you for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter.
Yep, that's right. Your rolls are like Final Fantasy VII without materia. And if you're playing Final Fantasy VII without materia, either you're doing a self-inflicted challenge or you're not having fun.
Right.
Or you're doing it wrong.
You're just doing it all wrong.
It's not like D&D. You can do it wrong.
I
So
mean, don't get me wrong. The characters are interesting, but also use the system that they put the work into.
right? Though the the Bozette says he finally started listening to our show. Thank you so much.
Thank
And my
you.
wife just handed me a class note like I was in school. To remind everyone that our Unearthed Tips and Tricks is available. Volume 2 did release, and I was so
wow.
excited about the 5th edition Team Deathmatch and the fantastic terrain thing I forgot. So you can pick that up. It's the sequel to our bestseller, our Unearthed Tips and Tricks, which is 25 UTTs to tickle your dice. All right, so anyways, moving on with the show. So, I have a really cool Let's Talk About Blank segment. Have you guys got a chance to look through this yet?
A little
A
bit.
little bit, yeah.
D&D, Wizards of the Coast has announced their D&D Live 2020 Roll with Advantage. If you don't know, this is going to be an internet event with the most star-studded D&D event ever is what they're calling it, right? People all over the world continue to try to stay safe by staying at home. So what they want to do is, make sure the adventuring doesn't stop. So they are bringing the brightest stars to the virtual tabletop to preview the latest D&D storyline with a live gaming session. Now, this is for, once again, raising money for Red Nose Day to help children affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. If you're following our show, you just know this is the second charity event that they've done, and I think this is fantastic. Well, not that they've done. I think we covered the what was the other one we covered? The Make-A-Wish Foundation that Big Burly dude, what's his name? Joe Manganiello is doing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Joe Manganiello.
so this one's actually for by Wizards of the Coast. You'll be able to watch live with big personalities as they play elves, wizards, fighters, and all that stuff. What's really cool is their cast of people. Some of them have never played D&D, and that's awesome. But some of them are big names. Have you guys know who Brandon Routh is?
Not off the top of my head, but I know Matthew Lillard.
Superman. He was the Superman in the Superman Returns. He's also on Legends of Tomorrow, which is great.
Well, not anymore.
Well, spoiler alert.
Not really.
Anyways, so they're gonna be in there with who did you say?
I was gonna say I see Matthew Lillard, who is Shaggy
Yes,
from
Shaggy.
the Scooby-Doo movie.
Right.
He's also did Without a Paddle, I think.
Yes,
that
he
movie
did.
From like
I'll never
a
forget
long time
him
ago.
cuddling up in the cave with those guys. That was funny.
That was good
And
time.
uncomfortable.
If he does not at least once say, "Did you just challenge me?"
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
great actor.
Yeah, there's lots of great names on here. So
Yeah.
Ann Wool, Deborah Ann Wool is going to be leading a group as well as Chris Perkins. So I'm really excited for this. I thought this was an awesome announcement. And I look forward to seeing how it goes. If you're gonna watch it, maybe I'll stream it to our page and do a watch party or something. We'll see how that goes. So definitely check it out. You can find a link in the show notes. Ian, if you would post the show notes or the blog post into the chats, that would be awesome. Did you guys want to touch on this at all? Anything that I missed?
No, I think
How
you
about-
covered it pretty well.
How about maybe when it's coming out would be a
Yeah, I
something
guess.
think. This is supposed to gonna take place on. They're gonna have June 18th is gonna be the gameplay reveal. And then it looks like it's gonna go throughout those next couple days following it. You're gonna have a couple pre-shows that go on before the shows start early in the morning. So those must be weekend time frames. So I'm excited to watch this and see how it goes. I think Chris Perkins is an amazing DM and always just is fantastic to watch. So, all right. I think that'll do it for our Let's Talk About Blank segment. Before we move on to our main topic, Austin, what do we got?
We got a giveaway from Loresmith, of course, and it's the Modular Dungeon Tiles, the Arcania set. For the upteenth time in a row, the modular dungeon tiles are an easy way to create your own beautiful digital maps. The Arcania set in specific lets you create dark, shadowy dungeon maps rich with the fumes of arcane secrets. So maybe you'll see this fantastic rune on the wall that'll send you to the upper planes, and you'll see some angels, and they might give you some cool stuff. Alternatively, it might send you to hell. Don't do that.
They are descending into hell right now. They just on our adventure, you guys just ended up in Elturel, right?
Yeah,
So,
don't do it.
how was that experience for you guys?
So far, it's a terrible idea. We should have never done this. We should have stayed at Baldur's Gate and just went there naturally.
On the bright side, though, we still have all 3 plot points to work with, so...
This is very true.
You know, the farther we get in, the more nervous that makes me.
Yeah, because we could just start changing the shit out of stuff.
Oh, that person died. Psych. They're actually just bleeding out.
Oh, Zariel never turned. She's actually an angel all this time. Good luck with that one, DM.
Who's our winner today, Ian?
Our winner today for Loresmith Dungeon Tiles for Arcania is... You didn't put down in the winner, you jerk.
Yeah, I did. It's just
Oh, is it?
below it for
Oh,
some
I
reason.
see it. Yeah.
It's in big blue
weird.
text. My bad.
Well, fine then. Our winner today is the DM's Council.
Woo! Congratulations. Austin, New York Tater says he was really nice about it. What the hell? He says you might need a wind mic. Can you pull your mic away from your mouth just a smidge? Because all that blowing into the mic
Sorry.
is being picked up.
My bad.
That's okay. I don't know why he was so nice about it.
The first one's free.
First one's free. Congratulations, DM Council. Make sure to let Loresmith know what you thought. If you like the product, maybe consider checking out his other content. If you didn't win, have no fear, because Crit Academy's got you covered, boys and girls, and anyone in between. Head over to critacademy.com/Loresmith and get a free set of digital terrain and so much more. Woo!
Well, if we're here to save the day, they are so doomed.
Ah!
That's kind of a good point.
That's
And for
funny.
I was gonna say I've seen our adventures. They're in trouble.
Yeah, we've been stumbling along the Avernus without question. We kind of like how we stumbled through Storm King's Thunder and somehow stumbled our way up.
Yep.
Yeah. Our track record is surprisingly good for all the blunders that usually happen in between all those.
In all the ways that Justin tried to kill me in particular.
All right, guys. Now on to our main topic. I am really excited about this. It's been something I've wanted to talk about ever since the game released. We are going to be discussing the Final Fantasy VII Materia System for 5th edition. So, for the uninitiated, the game mechanics in Final Fantasy VII is very unique in the fact that instead of having the characters level up and pick spells and abilities that way, a paladin has certain access to abilities, a wizard has certain access to certain abilities. Instead, what they do is they have a materia system, which is concentrated magical power, basically. And different materia that forms can be, certain powers can be drawn out of those. And in Final Fantasy, their weapons and their armor pieces and accessories are all slotted. So a wrist bracelet might be able to hold a couple pieces of materia. So a caster might have a flame materia and a cure materia and some other sort of a barrier materia. And all their skills and set are really built around that. Which basically means any person can play any position, I guess you could say, right? Because all you got to do is change out the materia you have, which makes for a very interesting style, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I just had a brief flashback to when we did one of my old groups, that 3.5 game. We were allowed to build characters and we're giving yay amount of gold.
Yes.
And I forget what the book is called, but basically it's like a book of magic items. It's about, yay thick because it's 3.5.
Right.
And there were gems you could slot into armor, swords, and shields. And they were so dirt cheap compared to the actual weapon enhancements. I'm like, why don't more people use these? These are really effective.
Right.
It
Sounds like it. Honestly, I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool. If you can help me find that, I'd love to look into it. Maybe that's something that we can work on moving forward.
Hmm.
Because I like converting stuff, and actually, you'll find out that in our next episode, that's actually what we're going to be talking about. So, um,
Yeah.
there's actually other this now. There's other games that have done something similar. If you ever played Path of Exile was greatly influenced by Final Fantasy VII. So there's skill gems. You pass them in, and boof, you get to use them.
Hmm.
What makes it unique is that you can intertwine these to get different effects, and the same thing goes true for Final Fantasy, right? You mix and match the different materials to get different combinations of effects. Like you might have one that says Final Cast when you die. This effect takes place. Well, this effect is also so. Let's say it's you die, you summon a phoenix that reses everybody, and then when you die, everyone dies. Poof, you automatically come back together. So it's a while it's a simple concept, it's very it has a lot of depth, but not so much that it's overwhelming, I guess, and
Right.
cumbersome. And I think the creator of this article, this Mr. Mike Myler, is it Myler? I'm trying to find his
Don't
name.
really remember.
It's a person.
Yeah, his name's on here somewhere, but I don't see it on. Must be at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I didn't
thinking
write it
too.
down into my notes, and I should have.
Yep. Mike
Myler.
Myler.
Okay.
Yep.
So he wrote this. Now this isn't new. I think he wrote this last year, so it's a little bit older, but it still is really great. So make sure you check it out. You can find the show notes at critacademy.com. It's the most recent blog. So there's a few things that have to be done in order to make this work, you guys. If everyone can get magic and stuff just from grabbing this magical orb, what are one of the biggest changes you think that they probably have to do?
They have to
Get rid of.
modify their weapons and items to have some slots in there.
That's not where I was going, but that's one of the points. That's definitely important. What
Yeah.
else?
They should probably get rid of all the spellcasters, so they don't have even more stuff to just kind of throw at people, right?
Yes. So now this is a pretty big change to the core of D&D because now you're doing what some people consider a taboo as you're limiting the access. Now, it's worth noting that it doesn't there with the combination of the way he's got the magic and the way the material works, your options aren't really that limited. It actually, because of the way the system works, you actually get almost an infinite possible combination of class builds. The only thing I think you would miss would be some of the specific class features, which honestly are
Yeah.
just a few. And the off trade is you can make all these different combinations of abilities to build that class even better than honestly the way it's written in the book. I wanted to get that out there because that is a huge difference from 5th edition. So there are specific classes that can't be used, and it's pretty much most of the casters. So which
Yeah.
classes are allowed? Um,
Actually, it says right here. It says at least according to this guy, according to Mike, it says barbarian, fighter, monk, or rogue. Those are
right,
the only four you get. So
right. So bards, clerics, druids, sorks, wizards, warlocks, any other of those like are gone.
mm,
Although I think you could make argument that that's optional too.
I would
Cause
agree. But I think
Yep.
he did that mostly to lower the complexity. Because
yeah,
adding the material is already going to make it complex.
yeah.
So,
Because I think he said he had upwards of over 100 materia in here.
yes.
So
Done.
And that's the other thing. Now, and he does consider that a balancing note, but there's a few other things. You're basically removing normal access to spells, right?
mm,
That's where it starts. Creatures can be attuned to a number of materia equal to their proficiency bonus. So instead of slotting equipment, what he's decided to do is you're able to equip a number based on your progression as you level. So as you level up, you'll just gain access to more as if you were swapping out new equipment. I actually think that was a good way to simplify because you've already changed a bunch of other stuff.
mm,
I think that him doing this was a good way to kind of reduce some of that complexity. But I easily can see giving basic equipment a couple slots and a couple pieces of armor pieces slots, and then a +1, +2, +3 kind of progress adds the number of materia slots it would have or something like that. So the other thing that I thought makes this interesting is
Uh-huh.
How often can they use these abilities?
I found it. Augment crystals.
Oh, is that the 3.5 version?
Hmm.
Send that to as a message to me so I don't forget that.
Of course.
So how often do you think these abilities could be used? Because there needs to be a balance, right?
You're right.
All of it that have to do with how rare it is, the materia itself.
You would
Interesting.
think,
You would think,
but
but it doesn't.
I was gonna say because like the thing with materia is that they kind of grow with the person, right?
Hmm.
So you could start with an uncommon, then at the very end you could end with a legendary or very rare.
Right.
So I'm assuming, well, this is right here. So I mean, you would think it would just be long rests, but I apparently, if you want a more Final Fantasy VII and less D&D 5e feel, then you would make it so it recharges on short rests instead of long rests. So
Yep. And that to me is very reminiscent of fourth editions, like encounter powers, and you'll find out why I think that is as we go through. But let's talk about the different types of materia there are. Now, just for clarification, Austin actually has not played Final Fantasy VII. He's just seen a little bit of it, and
I've seen quite a bit of it. I wouldn't
and
say a little. I'd say a lot.
oh, did you watch a bunch of it?
Oh yeah.
And then I've played through it dozens of times. In fact, I'm playing through it again because I started playing the remake. And when I can't play the remake, I'm playing the Final Fantasy VII on my phone. And
Heck yeah.
then Ian has played through a bit of Final Fantasy VII. I don't know that you completed it, but you understand
No,
the basis.
I know enough because of like word of mouth from over the years. So
So something that's interesting is materia comes in different colors, and that different color determines the kind of style of magic that's there. Like green materia is often like offensive magic or damaging or something along those lines. You have red materia that summons. I love how he handled summons in here. By the way, if you don't know,
I
go ahead.
looked through it as well, and I totally agree.
In Final Fantasy VII, when you summon those monsters, they come, they do a big attack, and they're gone. And
Mhm.
do you agree that he captured that feeling?
yeah,
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
They kind of just come in. They're basically a fireball.
Right.
And
although I feel like
they blow up everything.
you use like effectively half your character's level, right?
Yes.
But in this example, they had to do the full. Must have been a typo. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. So another type of materia is yellow, which is like command material, which is special. Like this is like closer to like the fifth edition features, like class features. Like you have double cut in here, which is basically extra attack for the most part. It's actually a little bit different, but that's kind of what it is, right? You have Deathblow. You've got all these kind of command things. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to talk more about these as we go. I just want to kind of give an overview. Then you have purple, which is like independent, which really doesn't tie well with any other category, such as counterattack, cover. We have to talk
more gold.
yeah, we have to talk about Chocobo Lure because in the game, Chocobo Lure has a chance for you to get a Chocobo so you can ride it. In this one, there's a 50% chance in any encounter to include 1d4 axe beaks that flee, but they're non-aggressive. They just happen to be in the group, and I think that's hilarious.
They're just around. They're like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
Now,
That's funny.
so I think that's the majority of that's all the materia types. Now we're not going to talk about every single materia, but I figure we could each kind of pick a couple that we read and sounded really interesting. So Ian, would you like to talk about one in particular first?
Good lord, there's so many options. Where do I even
know, right?
start? You know what? Because it sounds awesome. Gravity, which is a legendary materia.
Ooh.
You are able to cast harm up to 3 times between long rests, but the spell cannot deal more than 3/4 the target's total hit points.
Now does that start at the lowest level is rare and then goes up to legendary, right?
Well, I mean, legendary usually sounds pretty high.
Yeah. So the way the material works is you actually they evolve with you as you progress. So you pick gravity. The legendary level is, as you said, but you can also, when you first pick it up, it's just rare. And as you level up, or it earns experience, because they level up with you, the higher level you are, the stronger it is. So if you get it at a lower level, it does 1/4 the target's total hit points. If you've ever played Final Fantasy, you know, those things like bend and twist and alter time kind of around the person.
And harm, for the record, is on the target's failed save, they take 14d6 necrotic damage, and their maximum health is reduced by that much for an hour.
That's savage.
Boom.
Is quite a bit.
Pretty interesting. So that means that if let's say we're level, what's your at level 20 max level? What is your proficiency bonus? Like 6?
6.
I'll say 5, 6.
Yeah.
6.
So that's when you've got 100. What is it? 100 of these, or was it 200? I don't remember.
It's like he said it's he pushed over 100. But
So you only get to
could be
pick
more.
6 of these.
Yeah.
At any
Or
given time.
6.
So that
Yep.
means you're basically going to build a unique character by the 6 that you choose.
And for the record, the rare level of gravity is you can cast harm once between long rest, but it only does 1/4 of the target's total hit points. So that shows you how much that sucker scales.
Yeah,
It's
it
kind
scales a
Yeah.
lot. So, so that's a really good one. What about you, Austin?
Kind of choosing between one of these two. So I'll just choose this one. It's a little bit easier to go through. It's just pretty simple. I'm always a fan of being the first one to go in combat. So I'm just gonna choose Speed Plus. It starts off as common. Doesn't really do too much. Gives you +2 bonus to your initiative checks, and your speed increases by 5 feet. As it goes to uncommon, it's a +5 bonus to initiative checks, and your speed increases by 10 feet. And then by rare, you still only get the +5 bonus to initiative checks, but you get an advantage on initiative checks, and your speed increases by 15 feet.
Nice.
And
like-
then there's one more on top of that. It's very rare, and you always treat your initiative as if you had rolled a natural 20, and your speed increases by 20 feet.
Jesus.
I want to
Yes.
give that to Captain Jacques Roberts, which
So-
then would make Justin go, "Oh heck no!"
That was your swashbuckler, wasn't it?
The one who always went first. Yes.
Yeah. Pain in the ass.
So, kind of like it. I like stuff like that, where it's just simple, doesn't do like in theory a whole lot, but it's always doing something.
And that's
Yeah. So if I'm dashing an extra 20 feet. So that's a lot.
I briefly flash back to when Brandon's like, "All right, I'm 75 feet away from that monk. I shoot an arrow at him. Monk catches it and steps next to you. Wait, what? So, but I was 75 feet away. Yeah, that's his walk speed.
I don't know if we actually talked about how they level up.
Nope.
So
Don't
a
think
piece
so.
of materia that has been equipped to a character for both 1 level advancement and 1 point in proficiency bonus increases its power. So they don't all evolve with you. You basically, as you're going through these, you have to pick and choose, and they evolve as you level up. But you have to have them equipped for a number of times leveling up, and when you level up to actually get that bonus. That to me is really intriguing.
Oh yeah.
So it really helps you really have to narrow down what you can do.
Yeah.
So, or which ones you can use and actually level up by the end of the game or campaign or whatever.
Right.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on that I really thought was cool is I'm going to go a little more traditional, and I want to talk about just one of the elements like fire. So at first, when I first thought about this, I was like, oh, that's going to be a cantrip. It's not.
No.
You are able to cast Burning Hands and Hellish Rebuke once each between long rests. That's the uncommon one, and that's where it starts, right? And then when it levels up to rare, you're able to cast Scorching Ray once between long rests, and you're able to cast Burning Hands and Hellish Rebuke twice. So now you have 3 fire type spells. So it's
Wow.
not just doing one type; it's giving you some unique theme. It's very thematic, right? Because
Yeah.
instead of it just being Firebolt and Fireball or just one or the other, in this one materia you're getting a multitude that are flavored around the fire theme. And I think that that's fantastic. When it goes up to rare, you're now able to cast Fireball once between long rests, Scorching Ray twice, and you're able to cast Burning Hands and Hellish Rebuke 3 times between long rests.
It's quite a bit actually.
Right, but that's one materia. So having 6, you're starting to see how it
starts
thematically
to-
you can fit your options. Because if you wanted to build like a pyromancer, this one materia covers that.
Pretty much, yeah.
I wonder if this means I could build a character accurate version of Escanor with these.
I
First
don't,
of
I don't,
Probably.
I don't see why not. And then
Probably fairly easy.
Or as when a YouTuber calls them Flexcanor, because he always flexes
he's
on
always
people.
flexing. That's the guy
Sure.
from 7 Deadly Sins, right?
Yeah, the one who just chucks the spirit bomb fireball at somebody.
Right.
Yeah,
casually.
casually, mind you, yes.
And then the final level is legendary. Now you can cast Incendiary Cloud once between long rests, Fireball twice, Scorching Ray 3, and Burning Hands and Hellish Rebuke 4 times. So as your materia gets stronger, you have more access to those, can use them more fluidly and more regularly. That's pretty dope if you ask me.
I think that'd be awesome.
Because it makes you want to stick with that materia to get it to the higher levels, which
Exactly.
is kind of how the game handles it.
That's really cool. Huh. Okay.
Austin, would you like to pick another one? Or Ian, would you like to pick another one?
Oh, let's see here. We have options. We have so many options. We have. I already said that one. You know, it looks friggin' awesome. I'm just gonna scroll and. Ooh, mine. Very rare. Once between your short rests, you can use your action to perfectly mimic an ally's action. You might use this to replicate a higher level fighter's attack action, mimic a companion's use of another material, or even cast a spell.
That's cool.
Jeez.
It only has one level, so yeah, but still.
Right. But if you consider the person using a very powerful attack that they can only use once, you've now managed to clone it.
Yep.
And
it's
that's
and
huge.
it's once during between short rests. So
Yeah. That's a really good one. I like that. That falls under the command materia, I think, right? Where it's
Possibly.
it's like it's more like a feature.
yellow, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. That's a really good one. I like that. So you could do a if you had a powerful healer in the group, this person could act as a backup healer.
When needed, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very good. Good choice. Austin?
Again, I'm kind of stuck between two again, but we'll go with this one again. This one is Exit, which was actually right above Fire, and I saw that. I was like, what does Exit have to do with anything? But no, it's actually teleporting. So Exit starts at rare and then only goes to very rare. But that doesn't mean that it's bad, because holy cow. You can use a bonus action to cast Dimension Door once between long rests. That's the rare one. Now, the very rare one is you're able to cast Teleport once between long rests, and you can use a bonus action to cast Dimension Door twice between long rests.
Now, teleport is like a 7th level spell, right?
I believe so.
Because you can move an entire party with you, if I'm not
checking it
mistaken.
Right now.
Checking it out.
Oh boy. That's a lot of text.
That is a lot of text.
Yeah. Yes. The short answer is yes.
Up
if
to 8 women creatures of your choice. It's the short version. The very short version.
That's the very short version. It does a lot of math.
And there's mishap tables.
Yeah, it basically teleports an entire group.
Yes, depending on how familiar you are with that area, so be familiar with it.
Right.
And I don't think it has with a range. It just choose a destination.
You go
It's
here.
supposed to be known to you, and it must be on the same plane of existence. That's it.
That's cool.
And of course, Dimension Door is a 500-foot teleport that you could take one person with you.
That's funny.
It's kind of silly, so I like that one.
And that really fits with the exit themes. I think it takes you out of a dungeon or something in the original game.
Yeah, that would make sense, actually.
Now, I don't want to spend too much time on the restore, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So, one thing that is always, you can tell somebody did their research in balancing, is when they don't give you an ability that they can just spam. And honestly, that's something you can do in the game, but they managed, well, because of the long rest limitations and short rest limitations. Mike did a really good job balancing that. So the restore, which generates your cure and your regen and all that stuff, it starts off as uncommon, which means you can probably start off with it right off the bat. Which means you can level it up really quickly if you get it at level 1 or level 2. You're able to cast Cure Wounds once per long rest. That's it. Not a big deal. Now,
Right.
the one thing it doesn't touch on, in Final Fantasy, you can equip the same materia more than once. So I'm wondering, if I use more than one slot on the same materia, does that mean now I can use it twice per long rest? So if I have 2 of these uncommons, does that mean I can cast twice? I mean, it would take up other slots, so I wouldn't be able to do anything else, but that would in fact make me a better healer.
I don't see.
I didn't think about that. That possibility didn't even come across to me. Like, I didn't think about just, I could just equip like 3 restore materia. I mean, sure, one of them's rare and 2 of the are uncommon, but I can cast Cure Wounds 4 times.
Right.
I mean, skimming through here, I didn't see anything that says you couldn't do that.
Yeah. So that to me is you're giving up a resource slot. Go ahead, Austin.
Could you imagine equipping like 3 fire materia and they're all like very rare or something? And you're just constantly just scorching ray and fireballing, and that'd be interesting.
And
also,
wizards can do that at higher levels. So
I also like the in restore. He says you can, as it gets better, you can cast them at higher levels, which I thought was interesting.
Yes. Because you don't have spell slots, so it tells you what level it's cast at. And I think that's definitely intriguing. The restore does give you access to regeneration and healing word as well, on top of cure wounds. So that's pretty great. The other thing I want to touch on really quick is poison. Poison, he did something with this that I thought was pretty cool. Your poison, your basic poison, it's magic missile, except it does poison damage instead of force damage. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. To me, that seems like a significant weakness, a weakening.
Yeah, because a lot of like end game bosses are pretty kind of whatever to poison, right?
Right, or at least the condition. I guess it doesn't apply the condition, but
right, maybe, I don't know.
Although I've seen some pretty naughty spell combos online for how to take down some bosses. So,
right.
I cast petrification. I cast stone to mud. I cast purifying water. I drink the enemy.
I never. That's brutal.
Delicious.
I drink my foe. It's like, okay.
Although I remember one game where we once killed a dragon by polymorphing into a squirrel, then dropping into a bag of holding.
Can't breathe. Nice. At least for very long. So that was something that was really interesting, though. It does give you Cloud Kill and Stinking Cloud at higher levels, which makes more sense. That was just an unusual thing. Why wouldn't you just put like maybe the poison, one of the poison cantrips, or what is the stupid acid spray or poison spray or whatever?
Yeah, poison
something
spray.
like that. Yeah. But it is an auto hit. I do think that that's cool, but I do think that because it's dealing poison damage, that actually made that a much weaker spell than it probably should have been. But maybe there's a balance decision and design decision for that.
Maybe. Yeah.
But all right. So is there any other material you guys think we should talk about before we move on? I mean, there's some good stuff in here.
I like time. That was the other one I was really stuck on.
Why don't you tell us about time materia?
So time materia, pretty simple. It starts off as you cast haste once between long rest. It's uncommon, so you can just imagine, since it's an uncommon, you can start off probably pretty much with it. And I mean, a fighter would love it. Just, I cast haste on myself. I go in. The other one for the next one is you can cast slow once between long rests, and then cast haste twice between long rests. And then the last one, which is in the very rare, you're able to cast hold monster once between long rests, slow twice between long rests, and haste 3 times between long rests. So not bad. It's not super crazy.
I don't know, man. Haste as an uncommon feature sounds pretty dope. But you can only use it once. But during a boss battle, giving that to like a rogue or to a fighter or a barbarian right off the bat, man, that's
do some wild stuff with it. Yeah.
To this day, I still laugh at the one time where our party snuck up on a dragon and his minions, and my sorcerer used Twin Spell to cast haste on the fighter and the barbarian, and I said, "Go, my wood chippers."
What the hell?
The dragon did not even get into action.
Oh my lord. Yeah.
They murdered it that hardcore.
I
So,
wonder, like, would you still have to concentrate on it? I guess would it just be like haste as normal? So
there's
like I
no
can cast haste?
concentration. It says in the beginning, it said that if something is cast
Oh.
from materia, it does not require your concentration.
Oh.
Because
Well, that's a
otherwise,
lot
that
stronger than I thought it would
that
be.
would really limit your use of materia.
I guess it
quite
would,
a bit.
wouldn't it?
So
Yeah,
it seems like
because
he's thought about that.
I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Because if I used haste and then, like, I could only use it once, right? And then I immediately get, punched in the face and I lose concentration. I can see where that'd be a little frustrating.
I mean, shoot,
Seeing as that's the one reason I'm using it, right? So
Yeah.
actually, I remember one time when we played tested some magic items for Gabe, it's like, you just gave me an item that gave me haste that doesn't require concentration? Do you realize what you've done?
it sounds really good.
Especially since I get Shadow Blade at max level.
Right. So there is one yellow materia I want to talk about, Deathblow. You can use you can use an action to make a weapon attack against a creature within your reach. For melee weapons, or short range for ranged weapons. Rolling a d20 with no modifiers. On an even result, you score a critical hit. Once you use this material, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. So you can run a very high crit build. Combining,
We'll love this.
yeah, I mean, you can only use it once per encounter, but a crit can wreck somebody, especially with a big ass weapon like a greatsword.
Or like a
Or not a
barbarian with
greatsword,
savage strike.
axe. Yeah, right.
Ew.
Or a
It's-
backstab. Sneak attack.
Or backstab. Ew.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think that's a really cool
Ooh.
mechanic.
That sounds strong.
It's a 50-50 chance.
I mean,
but
yeah, it's a raw 50.
It's not a guaranteed thing though. So once you use it,
It's yeah.
spent for that encounter.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting skill. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Because I there's some more I want to, but I don't want to take up all the.
We can talk about this thing all day. We might as well just keep on moving along here.
All right, I do want to talk. The one thing I do want to talk about. They do have bonuses like to HP plus and MP plus and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think is really cool, and we mentioned early on, is the summon materia. So for the summon materia, we talked about it, if you're not familiar with it, they basically come in, a big summoned creature does a big attack, boom, and then they go away, right?
It's kind of a fireball.
Yeah, it kind of is. So it can be used, all red materia can be used once per long rest, and has a 20-foot radius for enemies. None of it hits your allies.
Mm-hmm.
That's convenient.
Very convenient.
Dealing the damage dice equals to half your material wielder's level. So if you're level 10, it's going to be 5d12 or 5d10 or whatever the dice is. Basically an AoE effect. And the damage type is different for every summon. And creatures take half damage for succeeding. So regardless, they're getting it with a Mega Flare, right? Now, some of the things make sense, right? You have Ifrit does, fire damage. Shiva does ice damage, all that stuff. They do have untyped damage in here. Honestly, I would make that force damage. There shouldn't be any untyped damage. I don't know why that's not categorized as force damage.
And then there's Knights of the Round.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into that, but we can. But
it's silly.
Yeah. So let's start with the simple one first.
Piercing, D6 slashing, all but magical.
Yes. And so they give you an example. So if you're an 8th level wielder and you summon the Knights of the Round, you deal 8d6 magical bludgeoning, 8d6 piercing, 8d6 slashing, and creatures in the area receive 1 saving throw to half the 24d6 magical damage. That's a lot. Now that's the most powerful summon in 7, and basically all of King Arthur's knights and King Arthur come up and kick some ass all at once. It's a long ass summon, but anyways.
Like as you hit the button, you go make a sandwich, you come back, eat it, and then the summon finishes.
I ordered a pizza, but yeah. So there's all those, and that really is a really cool thing. So if you really wanted to play a summoner like Final Fantasy Summoner, you could have these as your materia. Now,
Oh my
once
lord! I didn't
again,
even think about having more than one of these.
right now, obviously,
Jeez.
they all come to different rare types and they do different things. Like Leviathan is a D12, so at level 1 it does a D12. I think it
Hmm.
says rounded minimum 1, rounded to 1 or whatever. AOE damage. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
But
All enemies, not even allies.
one
Not
time,
even. It's a good fireball.
right? Oh, I forgot about blue materia. That's actually the other thing I want to talk about. So, the other materia we didn't talk about is blue materia is something that doesn't do on its own. It is a support skill. It does something when another materia is used, and this is where the complexity comes in place, because you get added effects. In fact, one of them is added effect, which requires equip materia to weapons or armor. Is well beyond the scope of this exercise for what he's doing. But I easily, because he doesn't include the slots on weapons, so he didn't give one for added effect. But I easily can see you tossing that into a weapon that says every time I hit with this weapon, it casts fireball or some shit.
Yeah, some equipment slots do attach to each other, which is something we didn't really touch on.
Yeah,
Which
and
he's
he
so.
and I think that's something that he tried to keep a little simpler.
Yeah.
So one of the blue materia is added cut. When you use this materia is attached, as long as the materia targets a creature, you can also make a bonus attack with one weapon attack as a bonus action. So if I have the fire materia and I cast Scorching Ray, I can also make a weapon attack. Only when I use that one. That's cool. That gives me a very much an Eldritch Knight build, right?
Yeah.
Elemental has an added as an added effect. Basically, means that when you use the if you pair it with fire, every attack does a little bit of fire damage, right? What are some other ones on here that could be interesting?
There's actual like lifesteal, like HP absorb right
Yep.
here. So when you use a materia this is attached to, for every 10 points of damage you deal, you gain 1 hit point. Could you imagine putting this on like any of your summon materia and
Yes.
this is dealing giant AoE damage? You say you
Right.
call down Ifrit and he's like, haha, big fire punch.
Yeah.
And then you heal it all back. You're like, that felt great. Thanks, dude.
That's funny.
I mean, this one's basic, but I kind of like to add a cut, which is when you use the material that this is attached to, you basically make one weapon attack against that creature, and there's already other material we didn't cover that give you even more attacks on top of this one. So,
right. So it allows for interesting, build mechanics. Now, once again, that's really going to come down to somebody, min-maxers will love something like this because they could have a lot of fun. Trying to figure out the best way to make stuff work. Now, I want to be upfront. Not everyone. This isn't going to appeal to everyone.
Nope.
But
That's
I
okay.
think this would make great resource for magic items. A magic item that you can weld into, that you can basically make a weapon that says, when you attack with this once per day, you can summon down a deity of ice, this ice female that just nukes everything, whose spirit resides inside of the sword or staff or whatever. And you can utilize these as magic items if you don't implement the entire system.
yeah.
But it's interesting. I thought this was great, and with all the hype around Final Fantasy, this is something I wanted to talk about for a while. So I thought I would bring it to you guys. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Reading through this.
Well, my general philosophy: anything that gives the players more options is always a good thing, and this does that.
It's true.
Alright.
I like it a lot. I like how this is. You really do have to kind of change the rules a little bit to say hey, you guys can only play these non-dedicated spellcasters.
Yeah.
and you must play barbarian, fighter, monk, or rogue, because holy crap, that would be too much work for me. I would get just not burnt out, but
Right.
overloaded, I guess.
Yep.
And so this is kind of makes everyone into a weird magic knight if you wanted to be that way.
Yes.
So
Pretty
that's
much.
cool.
Now,
I like
I have to agree with Carpageddon. He's been saying something I've been saying forever. He says a good thing to take away from the summons materia is that yes, you can just say screw it and reflavor any spell you cast as a summon who pops up and disappears. Yes, 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 yes. I've done that. The fireball spell is Ifrit popping up, throwing a meteor at the ground, man. Every time. Why not?
Makes sense, honestly. Yeah.
You did I said. All that changed was how I described it, and that's basically what they did here. All
I
right.
love it.
So I think that'll do it. Definitely check this out. MikeMyler.com, or you can find a link on our website at critacademy.com. Check it out. Like I said, at the very least, it's going to be a great idea for some magical weapons and items or ideas, magic items.
100%.
So, all right. With that being on, I think that'll do it for our main topic today. Before we move on, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of our boy Jeff Stevens. Ian, would you like to tell everyone about it?
Sure. Our giveaway for this section is Encounters on the Savage Seas 2. Revolutionize your game with this collection of 16 mini adventures, and it includes NPCs, locations, new creatures, and magical items to add to your nautical adventures.
I hope I get a really cool trident.
Who's our winner, Austin?
Our winner today is oh boy, Lost Realm Rangers. I shouldn't have had that much trouble reading that one.
Woo, congratulations, Lost Realm Rangers. If you enjoy the product, please leave Jeff Stevens a review. Tell him what you like. If you didn't win, have no fear. Crit Academy's here. Head on over to critacademy.com/Jeff Stevens to get Encounters on the Savage Seas 3 for free. Do it. Go right now. Well, after the show, actually, then go. All right.
Yeah, you can kind of. For all you not watching the show, do it now.
Moving on to our unearthed tips and tricks, where we bring you new and creative content for you to bring with you on your next adventure. Austin, would you like to tell us about the character concept?
Absolutely. Today's character concept is Dragonborn, Besmirched Birthright from D&D 4E. Player's Handbook Races Dragonborn.
That's right.
So you come from a dishonored Dragonborn clan. Whether recently or in the distant past, an individual or a family in your clan did something so cowardly, dishonorable, or incompetent that it reenacted poorly on the entire clan. Perhaps a group of soldiers deserted the field before a key battle between Arcosia and Baal Tarath. I'm hoping I nailed those.
Nope.
I did. Maybe a sorcerer of your clan destroyed an entire enclave with a miscast spell or a botched ritual. I hope it's not a botched ritual. That's usually bad. Or a warlock made an infernal pact, treated with devils, and joined forces with the enemy empire of Baal Tarath. Other Dragonborn, if they know your clan name, assume you're prone to the same failings, blame you for the actions of your clanmate, or simply taunt you because of your unfortunate heritage. How do you respond to such reception? Do you hide your clan affiliation, or have you renounced it entirely? Or do you seek to earn such glory that your deeds overshadow those who have brought shame to your clan?
What do you guys think about this?
That was our idiot cousins. Yeah. Go with that. Yeah.
Yep. That was my brother. He's stupid.
Oh, those guys. They're adopted.
Yeah, I was adopted. I was adopted. I'm not actually with them.
That's awesome. So this reminds me of a couple things. We're on the Final Fantasy thing. In Final Fantasy X, you have the hornless. Oh shit! What's his name? Starts with a K. Oh, I just lost it.
Kimari.
Kimari, thank you. He's
From
like
10?
he's ostracized from his clan because he's tiny and has a broken horn. You know. I'm reading the Skyward book by Brandon Sanderson right now, and the main character, she's ostracized because something her dad did, and nobody wants anything to do with her. So I think this was a great piece of flavor that really fit the Dragonborn specifically. It doesn't have to be a Dragonborn, but this was right out of their player's handbook. So
I'm just gonna take a note out of Naruto, and I'm just gonna pull an Itachi Uchiha and just
kill everybody.
Just wipe out the whole clan. Just no, we're starting from scratch.
Dude, That's awesome. Next week on Crit Academy, the new character concept. Be like Itachi.
Yeah, just kill them all. Just no.
That's awesome.
Get the white paint can. Just paint the walls all over again. Just nah. We're starting from scratch.
Very cool. Very cool. I think that'll do it for the character concept. Unless you guys got something else.
Nah, that's pretty. I think this is a pretty, just like
Pretty straightforward.
not like standard. Yeah, just straightforward.
I like
So,
it. Our monster variant today is the Dream Stalker Manticore. Once again, this stuff is from Theros. I am on a binge of Theros. This is
because why not?
all right, well, it's coming out. I'll probably change once it's out, but
Yeah.
this is an opportunity. I want to say that we will be doing a giveaway for a Theros book.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for the contest rules and details coming soon. Compliments of our buddy New York Tater. Thank you so much, Tater, for all your support.
Yay! Thank you, Tater.
All right, so for the Dream Stalker Manticore, you're going to start with the origin stat block of the adult brass dragon. The flavor text is Furfuros forged the Manticore's tail from bronze, its teeth from silver, and its heart from hate. I love that.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Dreams are sometimes used as messages from the gods or the servant or their servants who are held in high esteem to communicate to mortals. Sometimes messengers are even sent to communicate this way. When a Dream Stalker Manticore is chosen and sent by its patron, that message is death. Damn it, Ian, that's awesome.
You're welcome.
That's dope.
So what changes do you got to make? You're going to get rid of Fire Breath. You're going to reduce its intelligence to 6 because it is a beast. It's going to lose History, Persuasion, Blind Sight, and Speech altogether because it's stupid. Now, what are some cool new features this bad boy's going to get? It's going to get Tail Spike Regrowth. The Manticore has 48 Tail Spikes. Use Spikes Regrow when it finishes a long rest. Its new features are Tail Spike. It makes a ranged attack that releases a barrage of these piercing spikes. Requires a Constitution saving throw or be poisoned after it hits because it's a weapon attack. So if on a hit you make a save or become poisoned. Here's where it sucks. While poisoned this way, you can't regain hit points. And you take 66 damage at the start of each of your turns. A poisoned target can repeat the saving throw at the end of its turns, ending it on itself. Right?
Ah.
That sucks.
Ah.
Now, why is it called the Dream Stalker, you say? Well, let me tell you. It has an ability called Dream Stalk. Twice a day, the Manticore magically touches a sleeping humanoid it can see. A protection from evil and good spell cast on the target prevents this contact, as does Magic Circle. As long as the Manticore can see its target, the target has dreadful visions for the next 24 hours and can't regain the benefits of rest. And its hit point maximum is reduced by 2d10. If this effect reduces the target's hit points to 0, it dies, and its soul is devoured by the Manticore. The reduction to the target's hit points maximum lasts until removed by the Greater Restoration or a similar spell. Now, how does he put him to sleep, you would say? Well, one of the core features of the Brass Dragon is Sleep Breath.
Yep.
Sheer boned, people.
Huh.
Oh, my gosh. You better hope you succeed against that poison breath, man, or that sleep breath.
Huh.
What do you guys think about this?
This thing's badass.
It'll wreck your shit. I think it's like a CR 15 or 14 or something.
It'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind it will fuck you up, and I like it. I mean, if you're called a Dream Stalker Manticore, you better ruin my day. And this will do it.
And I love the flavor that comes with it, the devouring of the soul and everything. Now, it's worth noting that this is powerful, but only in the sense that it can potentially kill a player if they don't find a greater restoration. Now, if you're fighting a level 14 CR monster, somebody better have the restoration, or you should be able to have enough to pay for it. But what's worse is why they're looking. If that happens to them out in the middle of nowhere, and they don't have it, and they got to go back to town, and it takes 3 days of travel, ha! You're boned.
Coffee lock.
Yeah, you're gonna be suffering through some exhaustion. Better get a carriage.
You're gonna die. Because let's say this has over the next 24 hours, right? Your maximum hit point is reduced every time you take a long rest.
Yeah.
So the longer you are from civilization, if you don't have an ability to cure that, you're probably gonna die. But it's gonna be slow. Gonna be slow. So take care when traveling out in the middle of nowhere and pissing off Dream Stalker guys.
Or the gods that sent them.
Or the gods that sent them, right?
Yeah, or the gods that sent them. This is why you don't mess with gods, demigods, any of those, archetypal beings of higher existence. Just don't mess with them. Just. Which, I mean, it's going to be the exact opposite we're going to be doing in Descent and Avernus, so, I don't know, Zorax is probably going to die by the end of it, because he's going to be like, haha, Zariel, I challenge you, and Zara's going to be looking at me like, what? What did you just say to me? So, that'll be exciting when that happens.
That's funny.
I hope it doesn't happen that way. We'll see. Hopefully by then the party will have good reasoning, or like will step in front first before I pipe up my mouth and I get myself killed. But,
yeah, devils don't have much patience.
Hooray! But yeah, this thing's cool. I love it. Dream Stalker Manticore. Very fun. So yeah, don't go alone and die. have a healer that's ready for the party.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely one of the higher level monsters I've done. I've been trying to create a rating. So I'm so nerdy. So I made a histogram distribution of the CR ratings of the monsters and the players in the monster manual. So I know like a percentage that I have to do if I decide to release a monster book.
There you go.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've been working hard to get a bunch of them out. That's weird. Anyways, I think that'll do it. I love this monster. I think it's fun, and it's a very unique way to deal with a player, even after they battle it, because they're still going to suffer these effects.
Yeah, there's a lot of lasting effects on this thing.
Yeah. All right, I think that'll do it for our monster variant. Our encounter of the podcast is Fighting Dirty. Would you like to tell us about that, Ian?
Why, I can most definitely do that. A village militia is skirmishing the large bugbear raiding group. Currently, both small armies are about to the same size, which, while only small skirmishes are happening, the village captain, Rieza, expects a full assault soon. The bugbear force is too large for an adventuring party to handle on their own, and the natural strength and military tactics of the bugbears are greater than the village militia, mostly farmers and a few mercenaries. The characters are given Pale Tinker, a potent poison, and are tasked with sneaking into the bugbear's camp to poison their food and drinks, giving the village the advantage. The characters must take great care not to sound the alarm, for it will mean sure defeat for the party and the village.
What do you guys think about this?
Good stuff. Operations.
Yeah, this is some spec ops stuff. This would be interesting because I always try and think like, what if the party that we're playing as were to go into this? I'm like, it'd be interesting because like, say you are all playing with like a party where you have 2 paladins and an artificer, right? They're probably wearing fairly heavy armor. So you guys are probably going to have to go and like find lighter armor, or I guess in this case, our friend Matt here has mithril armor, so he kind of dodges that whole thing. But Zorax can't. He has to get different armor so he doesn't get disadvantage on stealth checks. Unless like maybe you could talk it out somehow. Just like say, hey, I want to enlist with you guys. We're bros. But I guess if this is bugbears,
the bugbears ain't gonna partner with you. They're clearly at war.
Yeah.
Trying to change my encounter, a-hole. So this was meant to Now, just because you have a noisy character in your party that can't stealth doesn't mean they can't have something to do. Easily can be focused on creating a distraction, maybe granting stealth benefits and advantages to the party who's actually sneaking in doing the poison.
Mhm.
Whether I wouldn't recommend they charge into battle against an army because you're clearly outnumbered. This is actually something you guys experienced, right? When you went into that Van Thamper thing, there's too many guards. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Individually, you're way stronger than them, but when there's hundreds of them, it makes it very, very much more difficult. In this scene, or in this setting, or in this encounter, the goal is to find a way to win the battle outside of just brute force. And while we use poisoning in this example, I think you could really do any sort of thing. Maybe spreading lies, spreading misinformation and stuff like that is also a good tactic. Just ask all of American TV. So I don't know. I really like this. I thought it was a lot of fun idea, and I can't wait to implement it.
Yeah. And at the request of a viewer from Argentina, hola, senor.
Yes, I started I know basic so I took Spanish in like middle school, and it was like 20 plus years ago, so I don't really remember everything, but I know the greeting and I know how to ask for the corte de baño when I got to take a piss, because I try to get out of class way too much. That's it.
Always
That's funny. That's a great encounter. Fighting dirty. Also, how I think it would be really interesting, and this is just my moral ambiguity going in, is, how do they choose their targets or who to poison? Is it just the majority of the stronger people, or does it end up they poison the wrong person or wrong group of people, and you end up getting all the cooks and stuff that are mostly not warriors, women and children or something? That would be intriguing. That would be great for like a poor roll when they're trying to figure out, where to put the poison. So,
Right.
yeah, you poison them, all the children. Good way to go, dick. And you still lost the war.
That's no good.
Although, would that demoralize them or really piss them off to fight harder?
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. Like you give them a boon. Oh, that's nice. Turn them
They
into
all have the
berserkers.
benefits of rage.
Right. That town is no longer there.
Yeah, the town's been raised. Sorry.
That's funny. All right, that'll do it for our encounter, Fighting Dirty. Our magic item is the Tempest Stone. This whetstone has been forged with the blue dragon scales, lending a spark to your weapon. It is a wondrous item and its rarity varies. As a bonus action, you can touch this whetstone to a melee or ranged weapon. The weapon is imbued with lightning magic that erupts from the weapon for 1 minute. The crackles of lightning shed dim light in a 20-foot radius, or light in a 20-foot radius, and dim light for an additional 20. While the weapon is imbued with magic, it deals extra damage based on its rarity and counts as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistances and immunities to non-magical attacks and weapons. This whetstone can be used only once, and its power is consumed. After its power is consumed, it turns to ash. So here we have a consumable. I used when I made this design, I started with the potions metric, and then I just scaled the damage appropriate for the levels. So at a common, the Tempest Stone gives you an extra 1d4 lightning damage. At uncommon, it's a greater Tempest Stone for 2d4 lightning damage. At rare, it's a superior Tempest Stone for 2d6, and then supreme is 4d6. What do you guys think about this?
It's reminds me of Dark Souls, where they sometimes they can like imbue so they're like weapons with like extra effects and stuff, and it's a consumable, so it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, I was playing World of Warcraft, and I was like, man, we should make a fiery enchant. I was like, well, they got weapons, so why not make it? Because I don't know if you remember, we did the whetstone magic item that gives like bonuses. So I was like, well, let's make some elements to that. What do you think, Ian?
Consumables are definitely a versatile thing, and the big problem you always run into with any video game is, I'm going to save these until I need them. Item later.
Campaign ends and it's got a bag full of things you were going to use later.
That's unfortunately my playstyle. As I've always played like any like RPG, it's like, oh, I have 72 potions, but I can't use them because what if I need them? It's like you're fighting the final boss, Austin. Just use them. But what if I really need them?
What if you pull out another boss after this and turns out he's not actually in charge?
Yeah, it's just like, ah! I
That's
really
fine.
wish I wouldn't have used my 72 potions then. Yeah, I remember a specific time when I was playing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga on the little Game Boy Advance because it's an
Yeah.
RPG, and I had 5 of the golden mushrooms. Now, if you don't know what they do, they're basically like the like full restores or the max ethers and stuff. You know, they
Ooh,
just
nice.
restore everything. Never used them. They just sat in my inventory like trophies. It's like, oh well, all right.
That's funny. All right. Yeah. So this is once again a consumable. I like consumables a lot because there's no risk of imbalancing the game for more than maybe an encounter.
Yeah.
Unless they just stuff them all in their bag and use them all at once. That's definitely happened to me. Brandon, I'm talking to you, a-hole.
Wow.
Like there was one game in 4th edition where he just pulled out every single consumable thing that I got and he just used them all. I'm like, what the? He trivialized the fight. I was like, damn it. That'll do it for our encounter or our magic item, the Tempest Stone. Austin, would you like to tell us about our Dungeon Master tip?
Absolutely. Our Dungeon Master tip today is prioritizing inclusion, comfort, and fun from the Kobold Guide to Game Mastering. As GM, you should always feel empowered to change anything about a published adventure to suit your group's needs. Perhaps that might mean changing the genders of a cadre of all male NPCs, or the appearances of NPCs who are all white. It might mean making even bigger changes, and that's okay. You should never feel worried about preserving a writer's vision if it would mean presenting material that would obviously make one or more of your players feel unwelcome.
Yes, I have to give a huge shout out to Rogue Watson. He recently reviewed our fantastic terrain, and great glowing review. Thank you so much for it. But there's one fantastic terrain that was inspired by an old Baldur's Gate encounter, which flips your gender. And we could have did better the way that was written, so I'm planning on changing it. But this is something that needed to be said. It's been sitting in my notes for a while.
Although to say with the original main topic, I guess there's kind of an encounter with that in Final Fantasy VII as well.
There is with Cloud, right?
Yep.
But he's a willing participant, and this was different. But anyways, when you're running a pre-adventure module or something like that, the one thing the creators will tell you, I know because they always tell me, you change it and mold it and shape it to fit your table.
Mm-hmm.
That's your goal. You should always be on that. And it's really important to include everyone. If everyone's not having fun, then there's something wrong with your table. Either that person just doesn't fit at your table, or you need to make changes as the dungeon master or as the players to better make sure everyone feels that they're represented in the game. A really good nod to this is the newest player's handbook. If I'm not mistaken, they've added a lot of shit. I don't want to dig myself a soul. They've added a very multitude of different races, not like fantasy races, like people races, human races, into the book.
Yeah.
And they made, when there was cover art of a young black woman on there, that was a big deal because that sort of thing hadn't been really done up to this point. So to make those people feel inclusive, your table definitely needs to show them love.
Okay.
God, I wonder if that's going to come up on a Twitter 10 years from now. Justin said this. He's a racist dickhead.
All like cropped out and like.
Right. Beep. What did he say here? But yes, just you are empowered to change anything in a published adventure, WotC wise or DM's Guild or whatever. Do it.
You gotta do stuff to make your table feel welcome, right? It's just how it is.
When you describe that warrior human, maybe it's a black woman or an Asian person or whatever, an Eskimo. Maybe. I don't know. They were.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do it. Be inclusive. That's what
Plus it,
D&D is.
plus, it adds diversity, which is always welcome. I feel
Yes.
like, and
Yes.
that's something that needs to be more welcomed about, like, us as like a culture. I think, but I don't know.
Oh, Ian made a good point here on the YouTube chat. He recalls reading about a group in Florida that made Elvish Spanish, to be inclusive to the person that was in the group that spoke Spanish better than English. I think we talked about that before.
We did.
And I
I
thought
don't know if I
that
remember
was
hearing about it.
that
Yeah.
was genius because that person didn't speak English very well. But by making the adventure heavily include elves and then letting them speak in Spanish, not only made the person who spoke Spanish comfortable, but also helped others start to learn some of those things. Because, that to me is just fantastic, for everyone to start knowing what fireball's called in Spanish. Hey, is somebody watching this? Shit, what's his name up there? That speaks Spanish. Tiago? How do you say fireball in Spanish? Let's see if he's still watching. Maybe he left. I don't know. But I think that to me is fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone should do it. Yes. That'll do it for our dungeon tip, master tip, unless you guys got something else.
No, that's all. Yeah.
All right. Our player tip. What?
According to Google, Bola de Fuego.
Bullet de Fuego?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Bola de
cool.
Fuego.
But now if the caster at your table is saying that because she's playing an elf all the time, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It helps everyone learn. So, our player tip of the podcast is don't be a dick.
Right.
He tried.
I'll sink at my end.
How best to get initiative? How to get the best initiative? Sorry, I can't read my own shit. Look at that, guys. I get to go first. Again. So, this is very much a min-max build, but once again, I told you I'd start including stuff like this to really cater to those sorts of players. Getting the jump on a foe can provide a huge tactical advantage, especially if you're an assassin who gets bonuses for that shit, right? If you go first, you can outmaneuver, outposition, and plan a perfect strategy based on where everyone's at and what's going to happen, including readying your action to wait for a specific trigger. You know that another player is going to put some sort of debuff or curse on the player or on an enemy, and you want to wait to get that action. Hey, there you go. Now, some players love rolling a high initiative, even if they don't optimize their character, take advantage of it. They often gain a great pleasure from opening fire or charging enemies before anyone else has a chance to tell them otherwise. Yes, I'm talking to you, chargy, ragey barbarian guys. So, how do we do this, you guys? So, obviously, you have to start off with maxing out your decks. That's the first and simplest rule, right? You're going to get a +5 from that. If you choose a race such as a wood elf with a bonus, you can make that a lot easier, right? And get there sooner. So that'll give you a +5 bonus, right? Then you can take the alert feat. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't one of your characters have this?
We just took the talents.
Oh, you had the talents. That's right.
Yep.
So now you've got a +10 initiative, right? Assuming you max out your decks, which is generally the first thing you want to do if this is the type of build you're going for, right?
Right.
The next thing you want to do is you want to be a Gloom Stalker Rogue to 3rd level in the Xanathar's Guide. It grants the Art of the Ambusher that gives you an initiative bonus equal to your Wisdom modifier. Guess what we do now? We max out Wisdom, giving you a potential +5, right?
Gloom Stalker is the Ranger, not the Rogue.
Damn it. Damn it. I had Ranger and I changed it because I thought it was wrong. Thank you.
I was like, that doesn't sound right. I know Rogue.
Damn it. Yes, you're right. Thank you. You want to take the Gloom Stalker archetype. And then, so that'll be the next thing you'll max out, right? So assuming you can get those maxed out, you're going to be using all of your ability, the rest of your ability stat increases to help with that, right? After you get the alert feat. And then you become a 2 levels into Wizard War Mage. Now, the reason you get 2 levels, this is also in Xanathar's, it grants Tactical Wit, which now allows you to add your Intelligence modifier, right? At a +5 if maxed out.
Quite a bit.
So that's a huge bonus. Now, it is really hard to get all your stats to 20. We know that. But
Yeah.
for the point of this exercise, we just wanted to tell you how high it could be, right?
Hmm.
Now, that's not realistic. But that's still how you technically could get the highest initiative. That's basically a plus 20 initiative. You will pretty much always go first. Now, let's make it something a little more real and more likely to happen. At 6th level, you're 4 levels in Rogue and 2 in Wizard. You're kind of building an Arcane Trickster style character, but you always want to go first. So let's say you pick up you get the alert feat, right, at 4th level, and then you have a +5, you have 5 because your initiative feat. Then you add your Dex, your Wiz, and your Int. So, if you picked a Wood Elf, for example, and you took the standard array, that gives you a 16, 16, a 13, a 12, a 10, and an 8, all the right off the bat without any agility thing bonuses, right? Because you
Right.
the stat bonuses because you took a feat. So that basically gives you a 5, +3, +2, +1, a total of +11 at 6. That's huge.
That's pretty high.
That
Yeah.
is huge. And now this doesn't include any things outside of the books that I have at the moment. Somebody's saying Chronology Wizard also gets it. I assume he's talking about the Tactical Wit. I'm not sure. But anyways, so if you want to build a character that almost always goes first, I mean, even on a 1 on your die, you still have a 12.
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, too, another option is a Swashbuckler Rogue that adds their charisma to their initiative. So,
That's definitely good.
and of course, there's also the haste build that we haven't mentioned yet, too. So,
Well, this was meant to just be like stat
Right.
bonus, but
right.
the problem with with Swashbuckler, you have to go 3 levels into it. But you could easily supplement that with the Gloom Stalker, right? So I guess I can add that. I'm going to add that Gloom Stalker or Swashbuckler.
Point is, there's options.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can get a really high bonus.
There's a good point. Dip in the bar to add your proficiency bonus to your initiative. They're right. That's what Jack of all trades does.
I thought Sage Advice confirmed that doesn't apply.
I thought Sage Advice did confirm it, although Sage Advice went back and forth on multiple things in the past. So.
Yeah. I didn't include that because I couldn't find confirmation of it. So, but that's definitely an option if your DM allows that. All right. Do you guys have any points on this? Anything I missed other than what we've already just discussed?
No. I see in 2014 it says yes, Jack of all trades can apply to initiative since that role is a dexterity check.
According to Crawford.
Okay.
Yes.
So there you go. Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Point being, there's options.
Right.
Which also means you can go into champion fighter, and if you get is it remarkable athlete, where if you're not proficient with it, you can add half your proficiency bonus to your physical checks like strength and dexterity checks.
Huh.
And since it's considered a dexterity check, you gain half your proficiency to your initiative. There you go.
This is
Very cool.
Another thing.
Right.
So, champion fighter. Now you have another reason.
Yes. All right. Those are good options, guys. Thank you for adding those. I thought I had it. Clearly, I did not.
There's D&D is so big. I'd be surprised if you did have all of it. I'm
Right.
gonna be honest.
Alrighty, that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. That was close. You guys want to try? We can try.
All right.
And that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. Ooh, I think we got it.
Maybe on your end, and if your end is the one recording everything, I guess it works.
Except I didn't hear Ian, but he already got it earlier.
Well.
Anyways, how to get the best initiative. I'm gonna put a tilde key there because that's approximate. Because clearly there's other options that I hadn't considered, and I thought I got them all, you bastards.
Never.
Alrighty. So, that'll do it for our show today, guys. Woo! I really enjoyed our main topic. Hopefully, you guys will check that stuff out. You can head on over to critacademy.com and take a peek. Please join us on. I was recently asked about updating and converting old content to new content, so I want to thank my patrons for bringing that up, because when you join us next week, or next episode, we will be discussing conversions to 5th edition. I'm really excited to talk about this. There's a nice little template out there we'll be covering and kind of giving our thoughts. So, yeah.
Cool.
And I think like
Yeah.
with some additions, there's less tweaking than others.
Yes.
Yeah. If you have any feedback, other tips and tricks, or topics you would like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at greatacademy@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, at Crit Academy.
We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a, hopefully, 5-star review on iTunes, or your platform of choice, or just send us a message telling us how much you enjoy the show. And also, be sure to give us a like and a share.
Make sure to subscribe. What?
That's
Nice.
It's been a while since I had a breakdown that bad. Damn it. Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Follow us on Twitch, YouTube. Please follow us on YouTube. I would like to get like to 1,000 like subscribers. That would be cool. That's my goal. Get to 1,000. We're at like almost 400. So help us with that. Head on over to our website and all that and sign up so we can help you on your future adventures, as well as be entered to win cool prizes each and every week. Keep an eye out. Those prizes will be changing soon. I'm really excited for that.
Yay!
Yeah.
New stuff.
Also, make sure to check out our fellowship members. Lots of great people. If you haven't checked out the awesome team over at Game Master Stash Facebook group or Facebook page, check them out. Every single few minutes they're posting shit that's RPG related. Also check out Gabe and Jeff. They do the Inter-Party Conflict show, which is absolutely stellar. The audio quality is amazing. Thank you so much for the subscription or the follow. Shamaler Butters. That is a cool name. I love it. Made me lose my train of thought. Definitely check out Inter-Party Conflict. Those guys are awesome. More professional than me. Way wiser than me. Sexier voice than me. Pretty much everything's better about them than, you know.
That's not
Hey,
how
we're cool. Hold on. Hey, wait. We're still cool too.
I didn't say I wasn't cool, but you know what? They're my go-to podcast. Like, so definitely check them out. That'll do it for our show today, you guys. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Yeah. Wave to the camera.